Hello, my name is Lori Burke, and I'm the Executive Director for Mothers Against Drunk Driving right here in Florida. And I thought I would sit outside today just because it is such a beautiful day, and I am still social distancing in my lanai. Jessica, Lauren, and I thought that it would be interesting to share with you the amazing people in our community and how they contribute to our mission or how they've been impacted by our mission. So today I'm speaking with a very, very, very special person to me, my sister-in-law, Esther Walensky.
You're very special to me too, Lori.
Wife of my brother, and I am just so grateful about this. And she is a teacher. Esther is a teacher in Massachusetts, and actually in her classroom she teaches mindfulness. And now that she is teaching remotely and still trying to put mindfulness in the virtual classroom, I just thought it would be interesting to sit down and have a discussion with her about this and how it might be mindfulness might be able to help all of us. So, but before we get into that, I just wanted to ask you how you and Johnny are doing, and what you're doing to sort of stay safe. And are you going crazy because you're with each other 24 hours a day now?
Well, hello, Lori. Thank you for having me. It's always super nice talking to you. It has been a process. So I imagine, like everybody else, we are having good days, we are having not so good days, but it is all part of this process, and it gives you, like a sense of, we are all in the same boat, and just gives you perspective too, because when the bad days, when you have like those days when you say, this is so unfair, I would like to be doing other things like getting out and stuff, you start thinking about the people that are going through a more difficult time than you, and then you say, okay, I shouldn't be complaining, right? So that is more or less what helps me get out of my like getting depressed or anything. But yeah, there are definitely better days than others. So I mean, it has been like trying to find balance has been it hasn't been always easy. When we started with this process of teaching from home, like at the beginning it was very difficult because it was very sudden, and everybody, like nobody really knew what to do with this, and everybody was very stressed out. So from our district, we always had the priority from administration that we wanted to make it as easy as possible for the parents for this transition, because they were going to be faced with a lot of challenges of just trying to juggle like teaching their own kids and helping their kids navigate the technology and also with their own jobs and stuff. So we had many different ideas, and but of course it was really stressful. So at the beginning I can't say that I really found balance, especially the first 2 weeks. I was actually pretty imbalanced, I would say, because suddenly in my case I had like a lot of hours in front of a screen, and that created like a lot of stress and tension, I imagine for you too. So it has been a process, and it still is a process of finding what is the right amount of work that I can do in front of a screen, and how can I attend to the needs of my students and my families. Right. How can I be available to them, and at the same time like not creating this stress that I was creating for myself. So I don't know, I found that the best way is to create some boundaries and to create some routines. And what is working for me is like setting my day for success as much as possible from the beginning.
Okay.
So I don't know if you practice any type of, if you do any type of routines in the morning. I imagine you do. I know that you were starting to do some journaling and stuff, but for me, it is very important, like to start the day right, and pay attention to just, some exercise in the morning, like a slow walk, just getting in, nature, like it's so important. And also practicing some sitting mindfulness practice. It's really important. It really changes my day completely. Setting an intention for the day, and also taking breaks during the day. One of the things that I had to do was putting alarms in my phone, because I was having 6 hours non-stop in front of a screen, because I just had to answer that last email. And if I was talking about that, and she followed up with me and she said, "So have you done it yet?" And I'm like, "No." It's so important.
And so now, I know when I talk with her next week, she's going to say, "Have you done it?" So I'm glad that you mentioned it, because
yes,
I'm not
good.
And I'm we have to. I really thank you, and
yeah,
hold me accountable to that as well, because that's
the thing. It is really important. Yes, because if not, we could be sitting for hours on end in front of a computer, and it's so bad for our bodies to be sitting for so long first, but also for our minds, because we are going from one thing to the next, and we are not taking a break to just breathe, and even, I don't know if that has happened to you, but I was even forgetting to eat. I was forgetting to have to have my lunch. So I literally have one alarm that says time for lunch. So I can get out away from my computer and just take 15 minutes or 20 minutes to have something to eat. It was not healthy.
So let me ask you, like, sort of, if someone doesn't know what mindfulness is, what would be sort of like a Webster's dictionary easy
definition of mindfulness?
Definition of mindfulness.
So if you want one word for mindfulness, for me, is noticing. Yes. I really like that word, because, and especially when I'm practicing sitting mindfulness, noticing your breath, like really paying attention. But the best definition that I've ever found on mindfulness is the one by John Kabat-Zinn, that is a professor, a researcher on mindfulness. He basically introduced mindfulness in the West, like in the 70s for everybody. And his definition of mindfulness is to pay attention on purpose in the present moment, and non-judgmentally, so without any judgment of what is happening. So basically, it is paying attention with intention to what you want to pay attention in that moment. So it can be something physical. It can be, the warmth of your cup of tea, or yes, or how your feet, the weight of your feet on the floor, or the way your body weight on your chair, or how your shoulders are positioned. Or it can be something, if you're going through a strong emotion, how is that feeling in my body? What part of my body do I feel that strong emotion? So basically, it's like you bring your attention to whatever you want to bring your attention in that moment, instead of getting carried away by your thoughts. If you think about it, we probably spend the majority of our awake lives just lost in our thoughts. We live here, up here. But what mindfulness does is that it brings you down to your body. So it's kind of, mindfulness is an action, but it's also a trait. So you train, it is like a training basically of your mind. So you can obviously the best way to train your mind to practice mindfulness is by having a formal practice of sitting mindfulness every day. But it can be practiced in any moment in your life. And the moment you start training your mind to pay attention, then it's easy for you to practice in a sitting format first, because when your body is quiet, then you can start really noticing what is going on in your mind, and then just take that learning and just practice in any other part in your life.
So let me ask you, so I can see how this might translate to a classroom when you're in person with the kids, but doing this remotely, how have you accomplished that a little bit?
Well, the thing is that the current classroom that I have been, this is my second year with them. So basically they are my kids. They are my kids and I miss them so much. But we have been practicing mindfulness for these 2 years.
Okay.
So it is very easy for me and for them to just take that knowledge and practice whenever they are feeling stressed out, or when they are feeling and I have some parents that they are telling me, oh no, we are practicing mindfulness in my house at the end of the day.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that too, because can parents use some of these techniques either when they're getting, I don't know if the right word is frustrated, but when they're feeling some emotion?
Absolutely.
Because it's very difficult.
It is very difficult. Yeah.
And and being at home and excuse me, sorry, that's my phone. Oh, I do have to get this. So can we pause for a moment?
Yes.
I volunteer for MADD Victim Services.
Don't worry, I'll mute myself.
Hello, this is Lori. Yes, hi there. Hi there, we are back. I had to take a call with MADD's helpline, which is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for people who have been impacted by impaired driving. I volunteer on Saturday mornings. So sorry, Esther.
Oh, don't worry. I think what you do is fantastic.
So I took a chance because I was thinking maybe we won't, because there's not a lot of people out on the roads. But unfortunately, we still see that there's impaired driving happening. But I think where we were is talking about, can parents, use mindfulness with their kids, whether it's, for the classroom and for their schoolwork, or even just a regular day when the kids are, saying, I'm bored.
Definitely. Yes, there are many resources out there, and especially now there are a lot of free resources to practice mindfulness and mindfulness strategies. Right now I took two classes actually through Mindful Schools, and they do have some free resources available to practice mindfulness in the house, with your own kids. I'm going to share my screen. Let me see, here it is. Can you see this?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so in here, see there's mindfulness class for kids. So you only have to sign up and you will receive new classes in your inbox.
Oh, nice.
This is a fantastic school of mindfulness. It has created a curriculum that goes from kindergarten to high school. I took 2 classes with them, Mindfulness Fundamentals and Mindful Educator Essentials. That is geared towards training educators to implement mindfulness classes with their students. I also know that I have another one in here. This is Headspace, that also has some meditations for kids.
Oh, does it?
That are,
we talked about Headspace before. Yes, I love it.
Yes, I use Headspace. I have the app in my phone.
Me too.
And I love it. It is fantastic, and it has some meditations for kids that are now free. They have like 5 different themes to explore in here. So there are many resources. There's also the MADD program. That is also one program, is one curriculum that you can purchase on Amazon. It's a couple of books.
Okay.
And I love, I've used that in the past before I started using Mindful Schools curriculum. And, but I still use from the MADD program the explanation that they have for their, how the brain works. Because teaching that to the kids, and I don't know if I have it in here. I think I have it in here and I can show you. Can you see this?
Yes.
This, okay. I think I have it in here. So this is one, let me see if I can play in here. So this is one copy that is taken from the MADD program, and it shows with this page, you show the students how their brain works.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives the kids strategies to especially understand their own mind processes and why it is very important for them to just calm down before they can make any decisions, or even before they can recall information that they have learned.
You know, it's interesting with our Power of Youth program, which really we go in and we raise awareness about the dangers of underage drinking and
Yes.
how to prevent that, how to make good decisions, and we talk a little bit about the brain. So this actually fits straight in with our program as well.
Yeah, it is perfect, and I think whenever I teach this to my students and to other students that I've taught in my school, you can hear a pin drop on the floor because they are so fascinated, and I think that it gives them so many tools to understand why, when they are stressed out or when they are frustrated or when they are angry, it's impossible for them to make good choices. And that's why they react the way they react, and that's why they cannot learn anything. Because they cannot focus on anything that they are learning, and they cannot remember anything of what they have already learned.
And you know, it's interesting because our program specialist, Lauren, she really employs a lot of what you're saying in her programs when she goes out and talks with young people. And we mainly focus on a bit of more older kids than, you know, like middle and high school. But it's really interesting because she really talks about all of that and how the brain works. And a lot of people, right, we're just told what to do. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this.
Yeah.
But here's why you're doing this. Here's why you're making these decisions. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just
No. And it is fantastic that you bring that up, because I think a lot of adults don't understand. Sometimes, you know, even many teachers, we don't understand why one kid is acting one way and why they can't learn something. And sometimes we just tell the kids, but you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention. But we don't tell them how they should be paying attention. And we don't even tell them, what does that mean? How does it look like? And I think it is a mistake that we make. Especially, and also not knowing that when one student is acting out, is stressed out, it's the worst moment to teach them something, because they are not going to process any of that information. And I think that when you teach both adults and children a little bit of this anatomy of the brain and how the brain works, it's like an aha moment for a lot of people. It's like, oh, now I get it, you know. And if I want to learn, then first I need to calm my amygdala, because if my amygdala is not calmed down, I'm not going to be able to make the right decisions, because my prefrontal cortex is completely shut down.
Right.
And I cannot access my memories because my hippocampus is shut down too, because my amygdala is taking over my reactions. I feel a threat. I am stressed out. Somebody has spoken to me in the wrong way, and I'm reacting, and I can't think about anything else in that moment. And especially for kids that are suffering trauma on a regular basis, they are in this state like for longer periods of time. So their capacity for learning and for reacting in the right way is even more impaired. So I think it's really important that, you know, for kids to learn not only how their brain works, but also to learn strategies to calm down, so they can free their brain areas to learn and to make the right decision.
What are some of those strategies that young people, and I'm sure us as adults, can use to really get out of that frustration, get out of that, or at least being able to manage those feelings so that those other parts of the brain opens up.
Mm-hmm. There are many. I mean, we start with basics. There is one core practice that we do that is mindfulness of the breath.
Okay.
So what I think it is important to practice regularly. What I have established in my class is a regular practice. Right after lunch, we sit down for a while. We talk about how research went. There are many great conversations that come out of there, and many great teachable moments about the way we see things, especially. And then we do a mindfulness practice, and we sit for a few minutes. You have to adjust the amount of time depending on the age of the kids. Younger kids cannot stay sitting without moving for longer periods of time, so just 1 or 2 minutes is enough. Older kids, you can regularly, like incrementally over the days. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
John is calling, but I'm not gonna answer him. So
is he home or is he at school?
He is going. He went to buy me the rubber boots for gardening.
Oh, good. He better do that. No, if he's not nice to you, well.
Oh my God, he's always nice to me, Lori.
I know. Anyway, I'm going to go off on a tangent about how perfect you guys are.
Oh, thank you. He's calling again. Okay, wait a minute.
Talking about a mindfulness of the breath.
Oh, yeah, the practices. So we start with that basic practice that is mindfulness of the breath. So we do like, first with the small kids, you have to try different ways of having. They are not going to have, most of them, they are going to have trouble self-regulating their bodies. They are going to have some movement in their bodies. So, as an adult, you have to know that and be okay with that. That's what I always tell other teachers when I train them on mindfulness. When I've given them lessons on how to teach mindfulness, I tell them you have to be okay with the fact that you're going to have one student that is going to be unable to stop moving, right? So, and we just breathe in and out. I give them like different strategies on just counting the breaths, focusing on the breath, or what part of your body do you feel the breath. Like with the little kids, you can even tell them to lay down flat on the floor. And we have even done when we had a pajama day with the stuffed animals. I asked them to put the stuffed animal on their bellies, so they see the stuffed animal rise and go down. There are many.
Almost like yoga, like it's almost like Savasana.
Yes.
My kids used to call it Sinatra because I'd be like, oh no, at the end of of like a yoga practice,
instead of Savasana.
And they'd be like, oh, you're doing, Frank Sinatra? And yes, we are.
Yeah, so it is like that, and we also use like different to notice the breath at the beginning. For them it can be a little difficult, so this is one mindful schools technique. Is just teaching them to just put one hand on your belly and see it rise and go down. Put it on your throat, see if or on your chest, right? And also in front of your mouth to feel the air on your hand. There are many different ways. Like we have created some different ways of breathing. I find that connecting breathing to movement for kids works really well.
Okay.
So we learned we name them, and I've also found like a lot of different ways of breathing, on the internet, like the waterfall breathing, that is breathing in slowly.
Okay.
And then fast.
Okay.
Right? And they love that. And from that, my students started saying, oh, let's do mountain breathing and let's do volcano breathing. So we have you have to also give them the opportunity to be creative with that.
Right.
And it is fantastic the way they use it. And my kids I have recorded them on videos, teaching breathing to other.
What's volcano breathing? I'm really interested.
Volcano breathing also comes with a little bit of kind of a voice. So you do like, you start from your belly and you do So
Okay.
you focus on your voice, and then when you get up here, you take a deep breath in, and you explode.
Okay.
Like
I
that.
can't use two hands because right now I'm balancing
Yes.
my computer on a pillow.
The mountain breathing is breathing in slowly. Then you get to the top and you hold it for 2 seconds, and then you go down slowly.
Oh, I
Like
love
that, as if you were skiing on the mountain.
Yes,
Right.
I love that.
Yeah, so there are many different types, but basically like focusing on the breathing is one. Then we go more on like focusing on different emotions.
Okay.
What part of your body do you feel the emotion? We also work with senses, like mindfulness listening, or mindful listening, mindful seeing, mindful touching, even mindful eating also. So we practice different ways. We do mindful walking, mindful sitting, and mindful standing. There are many different techniques that you can use, and they are like in these programs that I told you, they teach you like many different ways. Yeah.
Let me ask you, what is mindful walking? Because you know me, I always like to be efficient, and I'm thinking, okay, if I can get some exercise and also
Yes.
do some, mindfulness, that's really exciting.
So mindful walking,
the dogs.
it is perfect. And yes, basically you can bring mindfulness to every aspect of your life.
Okay.
But what you have to do is just obviously not multitask in that moment. So you just focus your attention on your feet when you're walking.
Oh.
And you can start practicing slowly, and then you can also have mindful walking while you're walking at your normal pace. But you notice the way your feet move, like first one foot, how it touches the floor with your heel, and when with the front of your foot, and then the other lifts up. So you are just moving your attention to different points on your feet, and then you can expand your attention to the way your body, the weight of your body on the floor, the connection with the earth. There are different, but basically bringing your attention back to one point. That is very for teachers. I gave a class in a convention that we had about different strategies for self-regulation for teachers, because one of the most important aspects of practicing mindfulness in the classroom is that you have to be a mindful teacher, because especially for younger students, they have many difficulties with self-regulation. So they look for self-regulation outside of them, and normally it's the adult in the room.
Okay.
So that's why a lot of students that have a lot of behavioral problems in the house, if they don't have one adult that is able to self-regulate, they are going to have even more issues. They can't find that center, right?
It's sort of like in the old days, counting to 10.
Exactly.
Before you say something. Okay.
So one of the techniques that as teachers or at least in my experience helps me a lot is precisely that, like focusing on my feet when I'm standing, or on my hands. It brings the attention back to the center. So yeah.
So I know one of the questions is, how does mindfulness help youth make decisions clearly? It sounds like we've talked about that a little bit by employing breath or mindfulness and walking, or, focusing on something. Could it also be focused on like an inanimate object, like, something that brings you joy? Like, I don't know,
Yeah, definitely. Once you start practicing mindfulness, like I said, you can bring mindfulness to every part of your life.
Okay.
And sometimes, focusing, on the flame of a candle can help. Or, what you have in front of you. It can be your notebook and your pen.
Right.
Something very, very simple.
Okay.
And I think the way it helps you, like I said before, is knowing about how your mind works first, and knowing and having tools to calm down whenever you're feeling stressed out.
Yeah.
One of the things that I used with my kids in the classroom, well, a few things that we have in the classroom is we talk about the zones of regulation. So my students know that, you know, there are different, like 4 zones of regulation, like, and they are color coded. So it's like a red zone. When you're in the red zone, it's like you are very angry. You can't control, like your body feels really hot and you want to yell, and you know, so kids know when they are in the red zone. We even talk like that. Some of my students, when they are very stressed out, they say, I'm in the red zone, right?
Okay.
And there are like blue zone is like when you are sad, depressed. The yellow zone is kind of like you are kind of like a little irritated, and or you feel sick, you know. And then the green zone is the zone where you can learn. It's the zone where you are calm, relaxed, happy. So the goal is to go to the green zone, right? Okay. So once the kids know how to use this language, it is very easy for them to identify the emotion that they are having. Knowing what zone they are, they can communicate that better, and then they can use the tools that we have in the classroom.
I love that. I wish I knew that, as you know, when I had little ones, because we used to use like there are non-negotiable things and negotiable things.
Yeah.
Particularly when there were decisions that they didn't agree with.
Yes.
So, and we used to. That's really interesting. I love that so much, you know, and I don't know, maybe we can even use it now, because now that we're all together, and we have it now for almost a year, you know, that even though they're grown and they're adults, you know, there's still some communication sometimes that happens, or miscommunication or something, you know, they don't, one of us doesn't clean the kitchen, and we're not happy with that because we want to go in there and be able to make a nutritious meal or something.
Yeah. It is very interesting to use that type of language. And also what I find is with my students is not only that they learn better how to identify their emotions and what they have to do about it, but also like it creates a kind of I don't know, community between us, because many times I tell them, okay, I'm not in the green zone right now, I'm in the blue zone, because this I of course you have to know what you can tell them and you can't, but once you use that language, they can understand that, you know, oh, that's why my teacher is not being, or she needs some space right now, right, in this moment, because we are all humans. We go through those. Sometimes you are very stressed out as a teacher and as a parent, and you just need some space.
Sure.
And it's very important to also let them know that. And another thing that we use in the classroom, I have one area in my classroom that is kind of like the calming area of my classroom. So when one student comes to me and tells me, I'm in the blue zone, I'm sad, you know, I just want to cry, they know, or I'm in the red zone, I'm very stressed out, or I tell them, oh, you need to calm down right now, you're very stressed out, just go to the teepee. We have a teepee in the classroom. Yeah. And we also have a toolbox of things that they can use to just self-regulate. Yeah. So I created one document that was with different strategies that they could do, reminding them of the things that we can use. But it's kind of like a guided notebook, like a guided book that they can color. It is laminated, and they can color with one, you know, white erase marker.
That's awesome, because that's really something that we can do in our own homes.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And, okay, maybe we don't have a teepee, although Amazon, I'm sure, does.
That's what I got it from. My kids love the teepee. They love the teepee. They love it.
Oh, I love that.
And it's really good. And we also I have my stuffed animals that they love. So sometimes they just need Rocky. Rocky is one, I have it in here, the orangutan that I have. And they just want to cuddle for a while. They do the activities in the book.
Yeah.
That is, you know, like just squeezing a stress ball 5 times with one hand, 5 times with the other, and then color in the hands. So slowly they are calming down, practicing the mountain breathing. And we have a mindful jar that is also like a jar with glitter on it. So they have to shake it and they have to put it, and when they come down, and when I ask them, okay, tell me when you're going to be ready, or sometimes I say, okay, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, I'm going to put the timer,
Yes.
and then I'll see if you're ready or not. And for the majority of the times, they are ready when the timer goes off. But I ask them, are you ready to work,
So let me ask you a question that I know that I'm thinking of. When you introduce this, if your kids aren't used to it, is it something that immediately the kids are like, yes, this is awesome? Or when you say, why don't you go sit in the teepee for a while and, see if you can get in, they're just like, no,
Well, I've had, I don't know, it works. You have to know your kids very well. It works with some students.
Okay.
For other students, what works is just talking. So sometimes they just need to talk, and they tell you. My students tell me, can we talk outside?
Yeah, and here, okay, so you just said some of it is talking, and I was thinking it was you talking to them, but
yes,
you just said for them to talk to you.
They need to talk to me. They need to tell me what is going on sometimes.
So listening is really important.
Yes, it's very important. But I also have other students that first they need to calm down before they are able to talk, because their stress level and their anger literally blocks their ability to talk. So sometimes we need to go through that, like saying, okay, I ask them, do you want to talk? And if they say no, then I tell them, okay, do you want to go to the TV for a while? And just when you're ready to talk, then I will be here to talk to you, or to listen to you. So it depends on the kid. It depends on the kid. Some are very open, and the same with the practice of sitting mindfulness practice. Some kids are really willing to do it, and they love it, and they bring the strategies home and they practice with their parents. And others, they just stay there with their eyes open and they don't do anything. But at least my point of view is that at least it's like planting seeds, right? Some of them flourish right now, others take some time to just grow.
Right.
And others may never grow, but at least they have like one idea of what are the things that they can do to help themselves, right?
I love that.
Yeah.
What kind of advice can you give to parents, especially during this unprecedented time of COVID-19? Everybody's, well, I can't say everybody, I can say me.
Yeah.
It's stressful. Today I have to go out because my animals don't have any biscuits, so they need to eat. And I need to go out and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, okay, so my mask is in the car, I have gloves in the car. I don't think that I have sanitizer, so I have to get some sanitizing wipes for later. And it's such a big ordeal that sometimes it's just overwhelming.
Yeah, it is. It is very overwhelming, and parents get, there's a lot of information. There is a lot of things that they don't know how to do. And righteously, because they were never trained to be teachers, and to have to balance work from home with small kids or young adults, So one advice that I would give them is to reach out to your school, to your teacher, to your child's teacher, because she will, or they will put you in contact with any other help that you might need. I've had parents that sometimes at the beginning were hesitant to reach out to me because they didn't want to bother me. But at the opposite, I had to just literally send emails saying, I'm here, just reach out, ask me any questions. How are you doing? I had to ask them, how are you doing? Are you overwhelmed? Are you stressed out? Tell me. And the moment they started opening up and just saying, I don't know how to handle this.
Right.
then I said, okay, I'm Zooming with you right now.
Yeah, we've done the same thing with people that have been impacted with drunk and drug driving. That a lot of times we reach out to them, and when we do, and just say like, "Hey, how are you doing?" You know, they're like, "Well, I didn't want to bother you." Like, you know, it's just me having a feeling some sort of way.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't think it was important when it is important.
It is important,
and particularly during this time.
Yes.
So there's a lot of feelings because this coronavirus we cannot control.
Exactly.
We do our best at controlling it, but we don't know if the person beside us, you know, in the grocery store has it or not.
Exactly.
And they may not know or not.
Exactly.
You know, and then, you know, and it's just like people that have been impacted, you know, they didn't know that someone was in front of them, beside them, behind them.
Exactly.
Or coming towards them that, you know, who was impaired. So, you know, this is as uncontrollable.
Yes.
You know, so it just takes every single one of us to do the right thing.
Absolutely, and it creates a high level of anxiety over many issues. It's not only that of you know, I can get infected. It is, how are my kids going to finish the school year? How much are they gonna miss? How much are they gonna be able to learn from home? Socially, my kid, how is he going to be able to see his friends? There are so many unknowns right now that sometimes it just works to just talk to another adult and just share your ideas and share your frustrations and share your anxiety. And in schools, like, we are trained and we have many different resources that we can pull from in this situation. And parents, you know, you are the first contact with the parents as a teacher, and you know their children very well because you are working with them 6 to 7 hours a day, every day. So we know what works, you know, the way of navigating how they learn, or the things that they don't understand, or their their frustrations, because we see that every single day. So just reaching out, like, we will be able to put them in contact with all the other needs that they have. That's like a school counselor, or, you know, a psychologist, or I don't know, the speech therapist, anything that they need. So reaching out is my biggest advice to the parents. You are not alone. Like, literally, when we hear this all the time, you're not alone, and it's true. We are not alone. We have to help each other in this way. So, yeah. Oh,
wonderful. Well, you know, you always have me to reach out to if you need anything. And just even talk, and I know, and I do. Thank you so much for talking with me today. Is there anything else that you'd want to add, or?
I just, you know, be compassionate with yourself and with others. We are going through many different emotions. Don't set high expectations also, because I think a lot of people, you know, I don't know if that happens to you, but it happens to me, and I've heard other people saying that, like, we have these highest expectations of how are we going to use this time that we stay at home, because we are having all that extra time that we should be productive every single minute of the day. But the reality is very different. And then and at the end, our minds use that to just beat ourselves up because we didn't reach our expectations. So it's like, okay, just cut yourself some slack. We are not going to be able to reach all the incredible goals that we've put for ourselves. It's just, you know, calm down. If you need to sleep. If you need to go out, be with nature without any, you know, don't feel guilty about it, because we are all in the same situation. So I just love talking with you, and I love talking with you too. I'm so happy that, you know, we had this opportunity to talk, and thank you for taking the time. Oh my goodness, anytime. Thank you for talking to me. I love you. Love you too. Bye.